Hi, Michelle Lee here with Athena Rising Now. If you're watching this video, then you've probably registered for a teleseminar or you signed up to be a private client of mine, during which we will be using a process known as emotional freedom technique or EFT. I have been an EFT practitioner for more than 10 years in my practice. I first started as a hypnotherapist, and I love hypnotherapy because I love the power of the mind and I love how fast it is, but I wanted something even faster, and I found emotional freedom technique. I have not found anything more powerful in releasing our past emotions and experiences and releasing our current emotions and experiences and enabling us to create the future we actually want. Now, EFT is based on the idea that we do actually have energy meridians that run through our body, and that all negative emotions are caused by a disruption in those energy meridians. So what we do is we actually focus on the negative emotion or the undesirable emotion, whether it's anger, hate, sadness, fear, or even physical pain. And we focus on those and we actually tap on the major meridian points, which I will show you in just a few minutes. Now, some people get a little freaked out about focusing on the negative because we will actually be saying, I feel angry, I'm so angry this happened, I wish this didn't happen. We are going to be focusing on that. And a lot of people kind of get freaked out because there's so much focus on being positive and thinking positive. And what I like to tell my clients is you can think one way and feel another way, and that's incongruent. And we are creating our experience through how we feel. And emotional freedom technique is just that. We are freeing ourselves from the undesirable emotions. We are emotional beings. We make all of our decisions based on those emotions, not necessarily how we think. So we will focus on the negative emotions and release them, and then we will turn it around and start tapping in the positive. The universe doesn't like a vacuum, so when we remove something, we instantly replace it with something at a higher vibration, a higher emotion. So I use the metaphor about the spilled milk to help you understand why we want to clean up the negative emotions first. Imagine if you're in your kitchen and you're getting ready to prepare a meal and you're in a hurry, you don't have a lot of time, and you want to get it done really fast and you spill some milk. And you spill that milk, and because you're in a hurry, you're like, oh, I'll get that in a minute. I first got to get this stuff chopped up and get it cooking. So you move to another area of your kitchen just so you're out of the way of the milk and you can keep making progress. But what happens is it has to keep running in the back of your mind that the spilled milk is there. Because if you don't, you will at the very least step in the milk and track it in the rest of the kitchen, or you'll step in the milk and fall. And this is true with our emotions. If we don't pay attention to our emotions right then they're going to be triggered at inopportune times and at the wrong people. So if something angers you and you just suppress it, it's spilled milk, I'll take care of it later. And then one of your kids comes in, or a spouse or a friend calls you and they happen to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, it triggers you. And then you're left feeling guilty and ashamed. So it's just more important to clean up the emotional mess when it happens. If you would have taken a few minutes to just clean up the milk, then it wouldn't take any extra energy trying to remember that it's there. So it's no longer a danger to you. So the tapping points for EFT go as follows. When we start a round of EFT, we will tap together our hands just so. We're going to get the karate chop points. And during the time we're tapping the karate chop point, we will use the setup phrase. And the setup phrase refers to the negative emotion that you're feeling, like anger, sadness, fear. And it goes like this. Even though I feel angry, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Now, this is important because one, you acknowledge your emotion instead of just saying, I don't have time for it. Two, you love, accept, and forgive yourself for feeling it. A lot of times we invalidate how we feel. Oh, I shouldn't feel that way. That shouldn't make me angry. That shouldn't hurt my feelings. Well, guess what? All of your emotions are valid, and rationalizing them away does nothing but suppress them. So you're going to love, accept, and forgive yourself. And that's the setup phrase. We will go through a setup phrase like that probably 3 times. I will say something similar to that, and you will repeat it after me. Now, you will probably be working with me over the telephone. So I will say, begin at your karate chop and repeat after me. I'll say the phrase, you'll repeat after me on the telephone, then I'll go to the next phrase and you'll repeat after me, and so on and so forth. And then I'll say, go to your inner eyebrows. And the inner eyebrow point is right here at the bridge of your nose. You're going to use 2 fingers and you're going to tap on both sides of your face at the same time for a faster clearing. You don't want to hurt yourself, but it's also not a feather light touch either. It's a good amount of pressure. And then I will say a phrase like, even though I feel angry, and then after that phrase, you're going to go to the next point, which is the outer eye point, right at the corners of your eyes on the edge of your skull bone. Again, I will say a phrase. You will repeat after me. After we say one phrase, we will go to the next tapping point, and that next tapping point is just below your eyes. Again, right on the edge of the skull bone. I will say a phrase. You will repeat that phrase after me. And then we will go automatically to the next tapping point, which is under your nose. You only need one hand for this tapping point. Right under your nose. Again, I will say a phrase. You'll repeat after me, and we will automatically go to the chin, right at the divot of your chin, tapping there. I will say a phrase again, and of course you will repeat it after me, and then we will go to the next tapping point. Now the next tapping point is called the collarbone, and there's a point in here on your chest on both sides somewhere. Don't get all caught up in making it perfect. Just use all 4 fingers, tap around in that area. You're going to get the point. Again, don't get all caught up in doing it right, getting the exact spot. You're going to hit the spot and you're going to experience a release. I will say a phrase, and once again, you will go to the next tapping point. The next tapping point is under your arm, about 4 inches from your armpit. I use all 4 fingers again, and you can tap one side, or I tap both sides at the same time. If you can't cross in front, you can tap this way. Or you can tap one at a time, but get both sides of the body. The final tapping point is the top of your head. Again, use all 4 fingers. Tap on the top of your head. I will say a phrase. You will repeat after me, and we will continue the rounds until I say otherwise. Oftentimes, I will have you go to the collarbone. I'll say, go to the collarbone and stay there. And we'll repeat a phrase a few times. And then we will stop, and I will ask you to rate your emotion. Now, before we begin any of the tapping, I'm going to have you tune in to your own emotions, whatever you're feeling, anger, sadness, guilt, fear, pain. And I'm going to have you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most intense. Don't get confused by this. Whatever pops into your head is true. Obviously, if you're feeling sadness and you're crying, you're sobbing, it's probably a 10 for you. And then after we do a few rounds of tapping, I'm going to ask you to take in a long, slow, deep breath, tune into that emotion, and rate it again. That way, you are actually noticing how much emotion you are releasing. So that's how we will work it. When you're working with me on the phone, we just move through it and we talk about it. So thanks for joining me. I look forward to working with you, and I'll see you soon.